Hey everybody. Uh how are we doing today? This is pretty fun, I think. I'm hoping that people can hear me. If you can hear me, can you like do a thumbs up or a like or something? I'm very new to this. Part of the reason why I'm doing an AMA is so that I can figure out how to do this because I've never done this before. Like right now I'm going to adjust my angle a little bit. There we go. So this is my basement that I'm currently in right now. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. I am living in, this is my childhood bedroom that my parents turned into a storage unit after I moved when I was a kid, or I guess, young lad. And then I came back here after everything has happened, and this is kind of where I am right now. And she told me that I should probably try to hide boxes. Like there's a lot of white space over here and up there, which I totally get. But you know what? There are a lot of things that are going on in my life right now. Okay, so I think I want to get started. I think just kind of telling you about a little bit about what this is and who I am and why I'm here doing what I'm doing. And hopefully we can get a cool conversation going. I have a drink. This is a scotch that my brother got me when my son Max was born a couple months ago. And so to Corey, thank you. I don't. Okay, yeah. I guess I don't know. Here's how I'll start. Here's where it is. I was at a university position in Washington in April, like last spring. Kind of read the cards on the table, realized that my contract was not going to be renewed. I have feelings about that I'm sure other people have as well that may agree or disagree with me. But COVID was coming up and it was an opportune time to dismiss. And so I was dismissed amidst the COVID pandemic. And a few months later, my wife was also laid off. It was a really hard time, if I'm going to be honest with you. Our lease was going up in our apartment or our place that we were living. They were not seeing what was happening with everything that was going on and would not kind of see, like give us like a 2-month extension, given that my wife at the time was 8 months pregnant. And so we had to figure out a place. We knew that my contract wasn't going to be renewed. My wife's contract we didn't know about for sure, but it wasn't large enough to sustain us either way. Yeah, and so we found just the greatest landlord, Aaron. And if you're out there listening, I doubt you're one of the 26 people that are, but if you are, thank you. It's good to know that there are compassionate people that own property in the world that would help you. And it's good to know that those people exist. So anyway, we moved to that place. We were there for about 2 months. We had a home birth. By we, I mean my wife. She is amazing, and she birthed a child at home while I tried not to freak out. And she is just the most amazing person in the world, and she deserves to be here. But she's bathing the baby right now. We found out that my wife was laid off. I was laid off. I didn't know what to do. And I was hoping that my academic community would kind of rise up a little bit and help me out and try to find that job shift to industry. And I realized that academics don't do industry. They just don't do it. Or they don't do LinkedIn, which is the key to industry, I should say. And that was frustrating to me. So this started out with, hey, I just was trying to get people to connect with me on LinkedIn. I would like to grow my network. I would like to figure out how to do this. When I started this, I had about 300 connections. They were also all just as dormant and as I was probably. And so I started applying to jobs, and 150 job applications later and one failed interview, I decided that I needed to change my approach to this network and the way that it operated. And so I did. And I decided that I wanted everybody to come together on one day and just connect, use the algorithms for us, educators, for academics, to say, hey, here we are. We're a talented group of people that are hitting the market at a really crappy time. Now would be a great time to hire one of them, like me. And it kind of worked, I guess. I got a lot of pushback, especially from this one dude I won't go into. And it was frustrating to see people actively not engage. What I felt was a heartfelt plea to say, connect with me, to people whose foundation is connecting and helping people. And I said, can you help me? And there was active silence to that in most cases, and that hurt in a lot of ways. And I realized that I had to figure something else out, because I was going into a really, really dark place, dark depression. I didn't like it. Yeah, it was really hard. And then I got this idea after reading an article by a former professor that I have, Todd May, who's amazing. Shout out to Todd, consulting philosopher for the Good Place, and like answerer of my emails. He wrote an article about the most ethical thing you can do is to stay at home during COVID, because that's what you should do, and it's based on this idea that you are connected to the other. We have an obligation to help the other succeed. And I felt that same way about connecting with people who were getting laid off. I felt that if you have a job, it is your ethical obligation to connect with people on LinkedIn specifically. I would not make that argument at any other moment. During a pandemic, when unemployment rates are as high as they are, what excuse do you have to not go and connect with people in front of an algorithm that could help them find a job? To disagree with that is a hard thing to disagree with, I feel, because it says I'm going to take my priorities over someone else's priorities. And I hope that you find out from me that's not something that I do. I just I've done that in the past. I do it every day, and I try to not do it. It's an active thing that I need to not do. And so I got this idea to hold an event, but then the nation and the world erupted after the murder of George Floyd. And that was really hard for me to watch for two reasons. Because I'm really like just tired, just really tired of having to see more posts of people that are actively being killed. And that's a problem for me, that I'm struggling to figure out what I can do to grapple with it in a concrete way. I mean, there's another thing that I was thinking about, but I can't remember. You'll probably also find that I go very tangential and stuff. So anyway, wherever I was going, if somebody wants to shout out a comment, it's like, hey, that's what you were talking about. But anyway, it started out with this thing that was small. Let's connect. Oh yeah. It was very hard because I also had thought I was building up this momentum, and I didn't want to take anything away from those movements that were happening. And so I made an active decision to not do that day, and to really internalize what it meant to build something that was, in my circles, called anti-racist. And I wanted to be able to enact that, and to be, for me, there are probably other people who can speak better to this, but to me, to be anti-racist is to actively support Black people in a very real way. However you define that real way, it needs to be real and it needs to be yours. And don't give anybody shit for them doing them their way, but just make sure that it is real. For me, what it is turning what I've built into something bigger. I could not have done that in June. I feel like I can do it now because I've met just the most amazing people to do that. And so what this turned into was me being, I think, pretty savvy, thinking that career coaches would see this as an opportunity to jump out in front and say, hey, this is my thing. I'm attached to this. And so I invited people to come and said, hey, I have no way to support your logistics or anything, but if you say that you're going to have an event on this day, I'll rouse up a whole bunch of people and try to get them to your thing. And that way, you get more clients and people will acknowledge that there's a problem here with educators losing jobs and not finding work outside and not feeling like they can find work outside of education, which is a problem that we're going to fix, I hope, with this event. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking, if I'm being honest, just this whole thing. Very frustrating. It was really hard to not see people connect. And in that simultaneous moment of it being so hard to see my circles not connect with me, what was happening on a different platform with LinkedIn, I was just being connected to the most amazing people who cared, who really cared, who could relate to me in a way that was meaningful. At first, there was, I think there was a lot of push just to kind of establish myself as a voice because I had no voice on the platform before. And I'm hoping to establish one that is geared towards educators and towards students, to making sure that the future is better and designed for students, with the help of students, by educators, with the help of educators, and all these wonderful things that I want to do. So anyway, now I feel like this is a really rambly thing. So here it is. Jeremy just asked what's next. That was like 3 minutes ago, Jeremy. I'm sorry. Here's what's next. Tomorrow we have a whole bunch of thought leader panels and a whole bunch of workshops. And you've seen all those advertisements. I've just been working tirelessly getting those things out to you. But what comes after this is I in the most real way, I want to help students take control of their education. I think I have an idea to figure that out, to use this momentum that we have in this organization to gather students, because right now the only way that students can gather is a really haphazard way outside of university control, or it's a very, 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 very structured way inside the university's control. And I feel like that's a problem. It's like saying, yeah, you can have a student government as long as we say it's okay. I think that a problem with this what's next? I want to teach people that they have a voice. That's what I want to do. In the big picture, I want to teach people that they have a voice. People know that they have a voice. but I want to teach them how to use it. I want to use my voice to make sure that those other voices are heard. I think that's what I have to do. Right now, I feel like this calling that I have within this vocation that I have within higher education is for the contingent worker, the non-tenured faculty member. I'm non-tenured NTT faculty. My wife is an NTT faculty. We were, at least, for the definition of contingent. We are seeing what contingent means right now. It's like, yeah, we don't need you. And I want to advocate for those people. Tracy Mum, just the most wonderful person, one of our panelists just said, if I still want to be hired, if I'm looking to build something else, and I'm quite good at building things, thank you. I do. I don't know if I want to be hired as much as I want to be enabled and empowered to create something. Because that's what I want to do for other people, is to help and empower them to create something as well. Because I think that needs to happen more. And I think that teachers are in a wonderful, beautiful place to be able to make that happen. But the thing that I want to build is a way to teach students that they are in control of their education, that they have a voice in their education, and that they should be heard in a real way in their education. And I think that teachers also deserve to be there at the table when those conversations are happening. The thing that we will see with COVID and with education is the influx of technology into education, which is the influx of the potential of surveillance, if that is how it is designed from the beginning. But imagine if it was designed by someone who thought that educators should be there, and somebody who really felt a connection to ethics and wanting to connect to people, or connecting students to students. What if we had that person helping to make that decision? If that person isn't me, that's fine. If there's a better person out there to be making that decision, I want to help them be at that table, because I care about my students and I care about my colleagues, and I want them to be able to pursue knowledge without the fear of big data, of like being surveilled, which is an inevitable byproduct of COVID, and just the future of, just technology, which I don't think is necessarily bad. It's just something that we need to acknowledge that is real and is there. And if we do that and embrace that we can do all of these things, not as a way to weaponize these things against individuals, but to critique the institutions themselves. This was my dissertation research, was doing this, was using not user-generated data, but institution-generated data to critique the institution, to make the institution better for the individual. To study the user is to study the after effect. To study the institution is to prevent it, I think. I don't know. Okay, so we'll do some more questions. Let's see. I feel like I'm starting to ramble. I'm going to take a drink, as should everybody else. Let's go for some questions. What do we think? Tracy is also fired up. Is also fired up by being fired up for students. And that's what you should be doing, is getting fired up. I don't know, like there's a photo that's going around of the kids, like everybody is in school. It's like a school in Georgia, I think. Nobody's wearing a mask. You should be fired up. We should be doing something. We should, I think, pause school for the fall. Like, we need to get this under control. And we need leaders. Somebody asked me on LinkedIn. Let me find it real quick. I should be up on LinkedIn too, or maybe I should be on Twitter, kind of like seeing what's going on over here. Oh, hey, there are like people that are doing stuff on Twitter too. I feel a little bit honored. Oh, see, it's not gonna. I told myself I'm not gonna swear while I'm on air, quote unquote. Where was that question? It was from Marianne McGrail. And Marianne asks, how should leaders act to support the vital mission of community colleges during this challenging period? And then I asked for an immediate clarification. Define the vital mission of community colleges. And so she says, community colleges serve disproportionately economically disadvantaged minority and first-gen students who often make considerable sacrifices to get an education. They rely on state and local funding, which has been seriously depleted and have not gotten sufficient funding under the CARES Act. These students are among the most vulnerable and most likely to abandon their education for economic reasons. Here's the answer to that, is they can't abandon their education for economic reasons if leaders pause education for everybody. If we move forward with education, the only thing it's going to do is increase disparities. That's it. Wealthy people, those who have the means, are going to get a better education. And those who do not are going to not get a better education. This is already the truth. This is already a reality. COVID is just exponential, correct? I don't know. I feel like that was a complicated question, but I feel like I have an easy answer. Is just leaders should say, don't go to school. Like in a real way, don't go. Just it's not like the answer isn't even just stay home. Like, I don't think that we as a nation are going to accept that. I'm not going to talk about all that. What I will say is that, you know what? I think that leaders need to say no school. I think that's what we need to do. Okay, so we have Lynn Durant says, what can we expect from the next couple of days of events? What are some good ways we can all connect over the next few days so the conversation keeps going afterwards? All right, so for the next couple of days of events, you can go to HireHigherEd.org / HHE2020. And that is going to have all of our events. We have a series of thought leader panels, which are kind of addressing some of the bigger issues that are just kind of out there in education right now. And also about how educators who are transitioning from education into industry, like some of the things that they can do specifically. Some really great people are involved. Really just not only some of the biggest names that are on platforms right now, and just some other of those great people, but also just I would call some of my friends, my new friends. I did not know these people 2 months ago. And they came when I needed, and they're just good people. I'm so excited for you to learn from them, because I myself have just learned so much. I'm turning on a fan because it's hot, or maybe it's just because I'm getting flustered. So what are some good ways that we can all connect over the next few days? Absolutely get on LinkedIn. As much as that sounds like a sales pitch for LinkedIn, guess what? That is how people get jobs, is by going on LinkedIn. And if you want to connect with people, that is exactly what you should do. Connect with as many people as you can. Be smart about it. If it looks fishy, then don't do it. but also understand that there are real people out there that want to connect and maybe just want to have a really interesting conversation with you. I've had the coolest conversations with people just by random messages saying, hey, that's how I got Myra Roldan to accept a conversation that we're having. She's presenting on Friday at 9 a.m. I just saw what she did. I looked at, I just said, I feel like you are a person I need to talk to. Can we chat one time? And we missed a couple times, then we did. And so it's a matter of just connecting. There are lots of ways to connect on that platform. You can give each other endorsements. Only give authentic endorsements. Give recommendations to people that you would actually recommend. Don't just hand them out willy-nilly, because that will probably count against your ethos, your credibility as a person. To keep going afterwards, and actually during the event, if you didn't see the scrolling thing, you can tune into Spotify, hashtag HHE2020a, for a inspired playlist from this amazing woman on Twitter, who's like, here's a Leaving Academia playlist. And I was like, this would be so cool. Can I do this? And we try to work it out, but we're both very busy parents. And so she's like, here's a big giant list. And I put it up there. And so if you can't make it to the event that day, you're just like hanging out at work, put that on and just be inspired and wonder, why would somebody want this on a playlist about leaving academia? And you will connect to people in a way that you've never connected before. It's so cool. Afterwards, I'm going to keep having events like this. It's not going to be nearly as big, just for the lack of my sanity, but it's going to be consistent. I will consistently have a way to do that. There's another great place that you can go to, let's see, here. Christina just asked me a great question. She's from the Institute of Effectiveness. How many people are registered? That's what I want to find out right now. I'm going to pull that up because that would be a good number to put out there. So far, we have 280 people that have registered. So that's a pretty good number, I feel. Okay. Jeremy asked me, what does it mean to get a PhD in rhetorics? It is amazing. It means that I learned how to talk to people. Well, at least that's what it means for me. I just learned how people think a little bit. I just read a whole bunch. Rhetoric is the art of persuasion. Aristotle said it is using the everything at your disposal, or Plato or somebody. I don't know. I got a PhD in it. I don't have to know that, I guess. But they said that I don't even know where it's going to go with that. This is why it's bad to have a conversation with myself, is because I have no way to talk to somebody about this stuff. It was Aristotle. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy, what was it? What did Aristotle say? Does anybody know what quote I'm thinking of that I forgot? Okay, yeah, it's about persuasion. That's what it was. Persuasion is using the everything at your disposal to be persuasive, or to convince people to do something. For me, what that meant when I was getting my doctorate in rhetoric was to find something that I was passionate about, that I wanted to work on, which ended up being big data in prisons, and doing some really cool stuff with linguistics with a friend of mine. And it turned into this project of like, I just need to, again, just kind of like this idea of just going out and helping people. Rhetoric is the art of persuasion. Oh, yeah, I totally got it. Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions? I don't know if this is going as well or how I anticipate it. I really didn't really know what to anticipate, if I'm being honest. Let's see what somebody on LinkedIn says. Parag Mahanti, one of my other people, he actually reached out to me. We had just like had a great conversation. And he asked me why I'm doing this. I have always been a very persuasive person. I've always been the type of person that can convince people to do something. I remember one time I I got a bunch of kids. I was such an ass when I was a kid. I got a bunch of kids on my bus to sign a petition against my bus driver because she was being really, really mean. And I think justifiably mean to a sixth grader. But that's just, I was able to do that. I was just able to convince people to do things. I was always selling stuff when I was a kid, whether it was those little beaded lizards, or I used to soak cinnamon toothpicks, or I used to soak toothpicks in cinnamon oil and set them on the playground when I was in like fourth grade. I was always doing something, right? I had little lemonade stands. And I just found out that I could hone that into sales. And that's what I did for a long time. And I made money, and it was miserable for me most of the time. And then I figured out that I could channel that into education. And that just like, I kept hitting walls whenever I tried to do that. Like tried to do it in a good way. And that was frustrating for me. Michelle Campbell says, what are the top things you think current PhD students should do prepare themselves for the alt-ac job market? I think it would be to establish your voice in a non-academic way. You need to be able to talk about yourself and talk about what you do in a way that doesn't make you sound like an asshole. Because a lot of times that's what it sounds like. I've been that person sounding like that. I told myself I wouldn't swear. And so I think that's what PhDs can do. I think it's going to be a little bit of a humbling moment to say, I need to learn something again. I need to learn, like, there's more that I need to learn. Like PhDs, they're tired of learning things, but there's something else you need to learn if you're going to go into the alt-ac market. And I think that the industry needs to kind of take a step back as well and say, having a PhD means that this person, they shouldn't be just in an entry-level position. But they should also be able to communicate why they shouldn't. And if they can't, then they shouldn't be in a non-entry-level position. Okay. Raksha, my amazing person. Oh, Tracy told me to keep swearing. Woo. Okay, I will. But Raksha asked me, how has my journey been until now? It's been long. It's been pretty hard, I would say. I feel, I think the hardest thing for me through all of this has been that this room has become just my reality in this moment. Like I come down here and I put everything I have, everything that I have into doing this, because it started out because I needed a job. I wanted a job. I had to support my family. I had to do all those things. But I it's something I wish I could be there for my family more than I am. I have a 3-month-old baby named Max that it's hard. Anyway, I think it's important to acknowledge that reality, though. I do. Okay. Kathy says, can I speak more to people about how people can approach researching job trends in different industries and making a pitch in alt-ac? There's these things that are called informal interviews. Just go and ask people about stuff. If there's something that you want to do, connect with them and say, hey, what you're doing is really, really cool. Can you tell me more about that? Imagine if somebody came up to you and asked you that. Say, hey, you do something really cool, and I find that interesting. Can we talk about that? They're probably going to say, yeah, give me a good time frame, and be flexible with that, with their schedule, and just go and ask them that. They're so important. Like these informal informational interviews have helped me to shape who I am and what I'm doing. Some of the people that I've met just today, even a dude named Campbell that I met today. There was a guy named Jason that I met today. I guess there's only just a couple people, but I've just met so many people over the past like couple days, and it's so great. Okay, let's do some more questions. How about this? Let me see if there anything over here. Sammy asked, how can other professionals get involved? You're right. Like I've been talking a lot about students and a lot about people who are unemployed. I think that the way that professionals can get involved would be to come and just to participate in a way, like to come and just be that listening ear. And I think that's what you need to be at this moment. Not like saying, hey, it's going to be okay. Just come and say, hey, how are you? Yeah, tell me more. Man, that's the worst. You know what? Connect with me on LinkedIn. If there's something that I can do for you to help you, I will be there to do that. But also like take a minute to like actively help people. Like if you find something, like it was when we found out that Crystal, my wife, lost her job, I posted about it on LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter because she said that I could, because it like dealt with everything that we were talking about with this movement and everything. And I hate it when I do this. I lose track of what I'm thinking. I wish that this is hard to do when I can't have somebody to talk to. You know what I mean? I lose my train of thought. I tell this to my students all the time. When I had students, I would tell this all the time. In the middle of my teaching, I will stop because I just completely forget in the middle of a sentence where I'm going. And usually that dynamic has never been a problem, but I've also never talked out loud to myself for this long. So there's that. I don't know where I was going. I can probably go and think about it later, but it's not going to work. I'm going to wrap up here in the next few minutes because here's what I want to say. I want people to come and to connect. I want people to be the community that you wish that you have. I want you to prepare as if you didn't have a job, because then you'll kind of get a glimpse of what it feels like to not have a job. There's that constant pressure. So just come and connect and commiserate with people and to learn about what we can do to help make this better. Like whatever this is, whatever this next step is, in a very real way, I want to help make it better. And I hope that I can help build something to help other people build something better. I was in a meeting today. I was in a meeting today with some of the coolest tech that I've seen. And I love these people that I've come to be talking with about this idea and about their technology that they have. And it was hard for me to say, but I said, what I felt in my heart in that meeting, because I was at that table. Like I was at a table, and I said, I can't do, like, they wanted me to do something and I couldn't. It would have solved a lot of my problems. But I just couldn't do it, because I said, I need there to be someone who cares about students when we're making this decision. And you haven't convinced me that you've done that yet. And so until you can, let me know. Tracy asked for a link to the website. I'm going to try to do this. Let's see if this works. I just sent out, did that happen? That's the link to the schedule. Here's what I'll do to close, I think. I don't know why you are tuning in. I don't know why people have decided to listen to me in such a way that we've been able to organize something to this capacity. I want you to connect. I want you to connect with people. I want you to believe that there is good in the world. Despite everything that is bad, there is good in the world. Because I've been on the receiving end of it. As hard as everything is right now, I've been on the receiving end of so much bad, but also so much good. And I want people to connect. I want people to care. Saying this out loud, I'm just reminded of so many conversations I had as an undergraduate student, as a graduate student. I used to be a Mormon missionary. I had those conversations then too. And I don't know why it has to be an idealistic thing. Why does it have to be such an idealistic thing for us to just give a shit about each other? I believe that along the lines of Emmanuel Levinas and Adriana Cabarero, that we are called into being. We exist to help people. And I don't know any other way. I made mistakes in my life that I wish I hadn't made. I used to just, sorry, my thing is weird now. I don't know. I used to not be who I am today. I like who I am today. But I want tomorrow me to be better. That's what I want other people to do too. For me, this is what this means for me, is putting on an event and helping other people find a job and do what they can. Whatever it is for you, just do it, and just make sure that it does happen. Because I don't know. Otherwise, why are we here? And in the most existential way, why are we here? And to answer Tracy's question, yes, all the times are Eastern. I thought that was really funny, but I can't really tell because there's nobody else that's laughing in front of my face, except for my puppy Maggie, who's right over there. Okay. I'm going to shoot over here. Let's see if I can. Oh, look. Oh, look what I can do. Aw. That's a new thing that I learned. That's Sammy. She says, my story and my care is genuine. Thank you. See, look, I didn't know that I could do this. This is partly, I actually probably should like take a minute to actually figure out how this works, huh? Oh, hey, more people have even registered since we've been talking. Isn't that exciting? Okay. Oh yeah. I told you I get distracted easily. It's probably not a good thing that I can like see my Twitter feed over here and like it's on a delay and it's kind of weird. So I'm just going to turn that off because I can't look at that at the same time. Okay. We'll come over here. See, this is really good. I should learn how to have this stuff prepared. This is the second thing that I would ask you to do as we're talking about this and as we're figuring this out. Can you continue in your kindness and being patient with me running this thing that I've never, ever done before? Yeah, like I don't know how to run a conference. I don't know how to get people to come and engage meaningfully, other than to hope that people are engaging meaningfully. And so I hope that happens. I hope that you are patient with me as I move forward to do this thing. Yeah. Okay. I can't remember what I was going over here to do on LinkedIn to look at whether or not I had any questions. But I can't really feel like it's working at the moment. Okay. I'm going to share out one more time. Oh, here's something that we can do that I could use some help with. Here's what we'll do. We'll close with this. This is a link to the raffle that we're having. The reason that we're doing a raffle. Oh, see, look at that. I can do that. And it's right there underneath the thing too, but you can't really see my mouse. That happens a lot when I was a student too. But yeah, we're having a raffle because I'm still unemployed. We still don't have an income. We're trying to fix that. My wife is also, we're working our best to do what we can to move out of the circumstances that we are in. But we're also trying to figure out what we can do to help people. All of our coaches and speakers have donated one of our so many services. Just going through and compiling that list yesterday, I was just really moved again just by the constant compassion that I'm seeing from people for being so kind and just helping me. So yes, here we go. We have lots of different career coaching. We have financial coaching. We have a 6-week course for mental fitness. We have a bunch of books, some accounts for 1-year memberships to a career growth club, and also some premier accounts to a new video resume platform that I think is pretty cool. New startup based out of Tulsa called Me in 3. We just, I guess could use some help, it's a hard thing for me to ask. But it's a reality that I need to ask. And so there I am. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and probably not answer any more questions because I don't see any more questions coming in. And so that's okay. Thank you so much for being here. I hope in the most real way that you come and that you support. And even if you don't come and support HireHigherEd, support your friends, your family members, if they are educators or not educators. This is a really, really crappy time for a lot of people, which also means that it is an incredible opportunity to be that person for someone else. And that's what I want you to do. It's just to be that person for someone else. So with that, thank you for asking me anything. I'll see you tomorrow.